Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 15 through 21 of Armored Book 2, Sentinel by Mark Greaney.
So in other words, they went to a place that they have zero communication, but they ending up landing and firefights begin.
I think, like, shouldn't that be like a big security question? Like, we can't get in contact with the ground, so maybe we should not land. Like, isn't that like part of the procedures that they should be following? Don't you think?
I was in the same point. Derek, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, why is it? This people supposed to be a department of the U.S. government that protects diplomats, especially in foreign assignment, and they end up landing on a place that they have zero communication on. That shows red flags. But I think for a civilian like yourself and me, it makes a lot of sense not to go. But according to special forces people that actually knows what they're doing, it's fine. Come on. It's so freaking frustrating when I read that. I was like, what were they thinking?
It's not a problem. We're just gonna land without knowing what's going on. The bad guys coming out. I mean, we actually, it's funny. I did like to see I did enjoy seeing the sort of the plan going to shit and them arguing about it, the baddies, where the plan they're trying to make it up as they go, and there's backstabbing and everything with the baddies, and that was kind of fun to watch. But I was thinking, like, if you're a sniper, and we're going all over the place here, everybody. We're going all over the place. If you're a sniper in a perch, the first thing you do is make sure that your optics do not glint in the sun. That's like
they're not a very, very smart people here. They're not very smart, especially that guy Condor. My God, if I have a nickname Condor, I better be amazing at it. But unfortunately, in this case, it's like they were lucky that they changed the tour dates got changed because of weather. That's fine. That's normal. It happens. It's fine. But like you said, if you're gonna be a sniper about 800 meters away, and you decided not to cover your optics like a normal sniper does, next thing you know, you get this gleaming in like less than a kilometer away. And it's like, oh, dude, I think there's something up there. Next thing you know, you hear a bang, and next thing you know, something got hit. So it's from the beginning to where we ended to wait for the for our next reading assignment. It's like a disaster that can be avoided. It's like saying, oh my God, Derek, I'm so frustrated right now because they have a way tonight to make this a non-starter, but they did it anyway. When they did that, it just went to a chain reaction that it doesn't need to have. Right? If I'm the writer and I did that, I'm like, well, I have nothing else how to put this together, so I'm just gonna say it's the weather, so we're gonna land. Oh, by the way, the baddies are there. It's like, oh my gosh, they're coming.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, I could kind of come to the defense of the writer here a little bit, because if you're like the military guy and you're like, the weather's bad, so we have a choice. We can go to this one spot which we believe is safe and secure, or we can go fly into the bad weather and take risks and do it that way. Oh, I can see a risk analysis, pushing that out. I can understand that argument.
Derek, the risk assessment means no communication means no landing. It's math.
I didn't
1
say,
+ 1 = 2.
I had issues. I did say I didn't have issues here, but so once Duffy figures out what's going on and stuff pops off, what's interesting is that the rebel guys who are untrained and not that experienced, who have like the machine guns, they're not doing so well against the guys with the pistols, which hopefully you would expect, right? But then we get the idea of them clearing an entire dam in like 20 minutes, which I find to be questionable at best, because it's supposed to be one of the biggest dams in the world.
Yes.
Speaking of this, is this, I actually don't know, is this a real dam? in the world. I don't know.
To be honest with you, I normally check on this, but I didn't check in this time because I had this feeling it's very, very fake. That's fine if it's
yeah.
it's fine.
I was just curious if it was. I didn't check on that either, but I was kind of curious about it. The thing I was really, I was actually a little, the little thing I was a little disappointed with was that Nicole didn't have more of a role in these chapters. I think in the idea that it's Duffy's moment, he's going to clear rooms, he's going to protect people, but the surprise character of all of that is he the sergeant who got ambushed?
Yeah, the copper. Yeah, the copper. Yeah,
he got ambushed. He's a standout. He's
he is. Yeah,
shot gung ho. He's going for the bridge. He's like,
it's kind of funny though because you said it several times actually for the past how long are we recording now? For the past minute, we'll start with Nicole. Understand that you said this is Duffy's shine. This is the moment that he's doing his job. Nicole was doing her job as well too. I didn't expect Nicole to be like Rambo in this one. I didn't expect that at all. I expect her to do her job as a political officer within the embassy. She is not an operative. She's not a security person. Her job is to be beside the ambassador, and that's what she's doing. So I have no problems with that. But at the same time, too, I've noticed that if your significant other is working for the same company as you, and you ending up doing your job, and she's doing her job, and every time Duffy needs to do something, she gets nervous. Understandable, and she does the same thing too, right? But the interaction between both of them was really nice because it wasn't in your face, but it's just there that a normal person's looking for their partner, right? But I was hoping as well too that Nikki will grab a gun and try to protect the team as well, or herself and the people that's surrounding her. But she ending up doing her duty for the ambassador. That's one point. The second point is the dam's office, or the command control office for the dam, the control area. You're right. It took them 20 minutes to clear it. The last time I went to a dam, that was Hoover Dam. It's a massive place. They can't clear that out in 20 minutes. Right? And it feels like when they cleared that place out, it was so fast. How big is this dam? Is this dam size of like what, a river? A small, tiny river?
It's
and
supposed to be one of the biggest. I think they did mention it's supposed to be one of the biggest in the world. I think, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, it's like one of the biggest in the country.
I might be well, okay, let's just say the country. Maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, but it was supposed to be a really big dam. And we're nitpicking here. I admit that. I admit we're nitpicking. But the thing is that when we're talking about the time frame the writer's setting up here, he's like, you have like they realize they have bombs. They say, oh, they've been gone for 20 minutes. And they figure it would take them about 20 minutes to set them. So now Duffy has to run off and try to stop them from doing that. And they learn about the laptop, and they learn about the remote detonation and everything. But I have two questions. One, these baddies are not getting out of there at this point. The idea would be for them to, leave or have the threat of blowing up the dam versus getting what they want, replacing the regime, whatever you want to call it, right?
Coup d'etat.
But in the end, the coup d'etat, yeah. But what we're talking about here is we're going on about how much little time they have. But if the baddies are up against the corner and they've already set the charges, wouldn't you expect that forcing them into a gunfight would force them in the position where they have nothing left to lose?
Yeah,
what do you think about
you do have a point there because, as you said, let's look at the different scenario here. If a baddie, terrorist, or rebels, whatever you want to call it, rebel alliance, decided to go to a facility that they were thinking about destroying, right? And then the stormtroopers decide to come in and start fighting. Next thing you know, you're right. The only left course to action is blow themselves up because they have zero things. In other words, they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose except remember, this is radicals. They have a mission to do, right? And you're right. You said it correctly. If they think they're gonna lose, why not just blow it up right now? Right. So there was a lot of, in my opinion, there's a lot of contradiction from them landing at the dam, first of all, without zero communication, to where they are now. It felt like it was a great firefight. It was a great battle, but at the same time, it's just very frustrating that there's a lot of holes or a lot of unanswered questions in the middle of this whole thing, right? So that's what I'm thinking.
I agree. There's a lot of unanswered questions here, and I had a realization of something while we were going through listening out the battle. And maybe I'm being unfair because we've only gone through a number of chapters here. We might be through maybe a little less than half the book, maybe. But Duffy doesn't feel like he's the primary character in this story. To me, it feels like the baddies are given as much or more, time in the chapters to develop their characters than Duffy now. And so I'm wondering if the writer took the approach of, well, we already know who Duffy is. We know what he's capable of. He's already overcome his challenges. Let's just create a more convoluted plot in this book versus the other book. What do you think?
To be honest with you, I really don't mind that at all, because it was, as you said, Duffy has already been sorted out, right? And the baddies, you can't have a storyline without a background on the bad guys, and having them in forefront like that is really nice because it changes the dynamic of the book itself. Sorry, guys, because we're recording this at home during the day, some person decided to use a jackhammer on top of my office. Hopefully you guys don't hear it, but we're gonna keep continuing because this conversation is getting interesting. Sorry about that, Derek. We planned this so well in this episode, right?
It's all good. It's all good. What can you do about construction?
Exactly.
But when we're talking about the baddies here, I agree that Condor is he doesn't deserve that name. I agree that's a cool name, but he doesn't deserve it. I wonder about the Russians trying to backstab the rebels and then, being out of contact with their Chinese contact. And so there's a lot of moving parts with this. And I keep on putting myself in the perspective of the baddies, but then Duffy trying to figure out what's going on. They just walked into what is essentially a war. And they can't even really get the choppers back to evacuate them, which is also fairly interesting to me. When I was thinking about how is this going to resolve in the next few chapters, I don't actually have a good explanation. Do you?
Actually, you made a good point though. I was hoping to do this later on the review of this book, because I do want to talk about the bad guys and how it gets developed. We have a very, very defined triangle of who's who regarding regarding the bad guys. You have the Chinese spy goes into the Russians, and the Russians. And he has the Russians, he has the South Africans, mercenaries, right? And you have the general that's trying to being bribed, in other words, become the next president of the country. So you have this layers upon layers of bad guys that's actually well defined. But in the same, regarding Duffy's storytelling, that was defined in the first book and beginning of the book too. But this one is such a defined layers of bad guys that it's so nice to read that there's sections. Who's responsible for a phase of each what's the best way to describe it? Each scenario, all right, or each they have a defined.
Well,
you know what I mean?
There's a plan that they each have their own role to play within that plan, and what I think it was the Russian who was deciding that he's going to change the plan midstream because he knows that the Chinese guy's using him, and I like the fact that we have this the baddies fighting each other. In a way, it's a second book in a way.
Yes,
because really, as I said, Duffy doesn't really seem to be the primary person. We're almost halfway through the book. He doesn't seem to be the primary person through. I'm figuring that's going to change now that they're into it, now that the trap is sprung, now that they have to fight their way out. I don't imagine that the where we left off, where he was trying to go down and get the bomb. The bomb guys from planting the explosives. I don't imagine that that's going to be so much successful. The real question I have, though, is he going to get the laptop or not, which has all of their codes on it?
I have this feeling they will eventually, but I have a better question to ask you, actually. The plan that they had overall. The plan is to do a coup to replace the current president, because the current president is very, very, very popular and very, very Western supporter. Let's just put it that way to be easier. And the plan was very, very to be honest with you, the plan is very sound. It's very well defined. Was very well thought of, right? But the execution, to be honest with you, if that helicopter or the tour did not go there early, they will not have any issues going through this plan itself.
Well,
right?
Technically, you remember that this is not the way any of them wanted to go down. The cop guy forced everybody's hand and forced everything to come forward. So there were two events that came together to create the situation. The cop finding their location and them deciding to change their itinerary to stop at the dam early. Those two things intersected. They did not intend to do that, right?
Okay, how about this, though? Because you're right. The cop saw something. He did his duty. He literally did his job. Okay? He did his job. He found the fake trucks, the fake uniform, and the fake everyone. He found all that. But you're right. If he walked in there and if he saw that and report back, the plan remains the same. The only difference is they might get stopped early. Okay? But he got caught, and the first thing he said, are you here for the president? Right? Are you here for the president? It's like, no, he's not coming tomorrow. No, he's coming today. That's when they found out. If the itinerary did not change, the plan remains the same. This means the bad guy's plan may succeed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so they had to push up. They weren't in place yet. They wanted to be in place to be able to make those demands and so forth, and to have their guys in place. Technically, the only thing that was ahead of schedule that they couldn't account for was planting the explosives. That was really the only thing that technically outside of their plan was messed up.
Yeah, let's look at this perspective. That let's say you and I have a plan, saying we have to put the explosive in the building. Okay, that our plan was today. Today is the plan. Right now we realize that the person that we're trying to do the coup on showed up early. You're right. If everything goes into plan, they will succeed. But unfortunately, nothing went to plan, and they had to what's the best way to describe this? They have to adapt in the situation, and they adapt very well, in my opinion, right? But someone got greedy. A guy named Condor, again, great nickname, but great call sign, but the guy is a dick. The guy's a jerk. He changed the plan so much that if he did, let's just put this way, Derek. Tell me if you agree with this. Doesn't matter what happened. If they end up starting their plans early, all this happening. But if he followed the plan originally and not deviate from the plan itself, you think they will still succeed?
I'm wondering about that. I would say that it was, okay, I'm going to say this. It was well planned. So I would say the answer is yes. I would say the answer is, I think the problem that you're talking about is his personality being arrogant and in control. That's the problem, not the plan.
Yeah. And the other question I have for you, though, is this. If everything happens in the book itself is correct, right? If okay, let me rephrase this. If you are in charge, okay, your first gut instinct when you found out there's no communication, do not land. But someone, the same thing, I think the president or the EU person say, we got to land this because we need to show that we did our job, right? Would you force them to say, no, we're going home? Would you do that? Or you just say, you know what? It's the whole optics thing. We should show up and sacrifice security.
You don't do politics, do you?
Yes.
Politics
that
always says the optics matter.
It's my consultant side comes out once in a while, okay? Leave me alone.
It's always about politics, baby.
Yes, it's all about politics. Okay, so with that question, with that scenario, would you force them to say, you know, I'm in charge of we're leaving? Would you do it, or would you like concede that?
No, you would probably concede at that point. Assuming you didn't perceive a threat, you would concede.
They already said it, Derek. They already said this is not good. This is not good.
No, I agree. Duffy was the first one to be like, yo, we don't have comms. It's a problem here. I personally would be like, no, we're out of here. Because your job is not about the political side of it. Your job is to keep that person safe. And if it doesn't meet your high standards, then, you know, you have to walk away, right? That's the whole point of security, is that you have procedures you don't let go of, so that there's always the high possibility your protectee is safe, right? If you compromise those, then what is the point of you being there?
Agree. So we are going into, we have three more episodes to go on this. As you said, we're halfway there. What are you predicting for the next episodes? The next chapters.
I have two scenarios. I'm walking away from the Die Hard thing. It was kind of fun in the beginning, but I'm walking away from it. I'm hoping that, and again, I'm going to say it, I hope Nicole gets a little more central role in some fashion. I hope it doesn't become a trope where she gets taken hostage and he has to go rescue her. That's my Die Hard scenario, but I don't think it's going to go in that direction. What I think is going to go on is that they put a wrench into the plans of these guys to do the coup, and the president isn't dead. So when the president gets out, it allows them to do some additional stuff. The only question I have is how long will it take them to get the word out? Because it's like 20 minutes away or something to get a sat signal or something like that, right? They can't keep the jamming going forever. So what's going to happen once that occurs? Also, there's like 400 baddies coming to the bridge, I think. Am I wrong about that? Was that?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. So time is working against them. So they won't be able to hold out against that many guys. So I'm wondering if it's going to be an escape, an escape over the next few chapters. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking the same thing too. As it's like they can't get the chopper in, so all of them has to escape. There's 20 of them, right? Plus the workers in the dam, plus the delegation. They have to get out of there by foot. I think the last count that I have, there's only like 6 security people left, right? And I'm hoping,
and some of the people there got killed too. Some of some of the dignitaries or whatever the staff got, because they talked about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're really crunching on the math here. But I agree with you. The numbers matter. 30 people, 40 people. That the difference between this two is like a truck versus multiple trucks. Like it matters, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the from 22 to 30, our next reading chapters. I'm just hoping that if they ending up finding themselves out of this, I'm just hoping that it's not, as you say, it's not going to be a big chase, right? I don't want to see they open the garage, there's a big truck there that's ready to go, so they can fit everyone in it. As soon as I see that, Derek, I'm going to be so upset. I want to see something that's a little bit more realistic, that they're trying to escape, they want to get out of there, and if Nicole gets captured in this sense, and it becomes a rescue mission from Duffy's eyes, this whole thing, I'm going to be incredibly upset. I am going to die. Exactly.
Die hard. Join us next time as we review chapters 22 through 30 of Armored, Book 2, Sentinel by Mark Greaney. Thank you for opening the book with us today. Subscribe so you won't miss our next episode. We would love to hear from you. share a review, or email us at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.